I am Dr. Craig Schluttenhofer. I'm a research associate professor of natural products here at Central State University. My background is in a lot of things plant sciences area, but I specifically focus on hemp research here at the university and really trying to help develop this new crop and revitalize it back in Ohio and expand opportunities for Ohio growers and processors. Over the years, it's been a bit of a challenge because Ohio kind of came into the hemp arena fairly late, which turned out to be a fairly good thing because we didn't have a lot of growers jump onto the metabolite type of hemp, because there's three types of hemp. There's grain, fiber, and metabolites. And at the time that 2018 Farm Bill passed, there was a lot of states growing for the metabolite hemp. That market kind of ended up crashing because of the overproduction, and there's just so much more that was produced than necessary to be used, and so a lot of growers spent the next several years trying to get their products sold, their crops sold. And so luckily Ohio came in a little on the later end, so we didn't have too many growers that had jumped into the production of the metabolites like the CBD, cannabidiol, and so we didn't have too many that lost significant amounts of money. So our industry's remained fairly small since we started it in July of 2019, but the first commercial growers were in 2020. And so we see now that there's only a few growers, but we're seeing exploration of more of the grain and fiber sides, which is interesting. And hopefully, I think that'll be an area that we could continue to see grow over the course of the next several years. The goals of growing hemp around campus is we have some stuff that's being grown indoors in this new lab space, but we do have field trials that are going out on the farm behind the new research building. And those are really looking at the grain and fiber applications, anything that needs to be more of the metabolite production, understanding the plant chemistry. We kind of do more indoors, where we can control and keep those plants from getting pollinated from the grain and fiber plants outside. And so we have a nice balance of all the different types of research for the grain, fiber, and metabolites, but we really see a lot of opportunity for the grain and fiber side, and so trying to put more effort into that work going forward. We have a number of research projects. So I have my existing land grant research projects focus on looking at the varieties that grow well in Ohio, and breeding new varieties that might be better suited to Ohio, as well as developing new and different products, so especially for grain and fiber, and so looking at different opportunities that might come there. But we have other existing externally funded projects, including a large project from the Sustainable Agriculture Systems program at the USDA, and that's a $10 million project run by Dr. Phipps that I oversee the hemp research, looking at hemp as a feed ingredient for fish. And so we have a aquaculture facility we've been working on building so we could start doing those types of trials. And so we're looking at the chemistry of the hemp seed, the grain products, so we could try to make a feed ingredient out of those and hopefully eventually get that approved. And then we're working, a lot of the analytical stuff behind me here is looking at smoked and vaped hemp work for the FDA, and so we're making hemp cigarettes, making hemp e-liquids, and then trying to see the chemistry before and after using those products on things like this, the smoke machine, to better understand that chemistry and the risks those might pose to consumers, the benefits they might pose to consumers, and just better understand those products. To get government regulation, or the government regulations that sit over hemp, is basically it's not too difficult for hemp because we could just work with the Ohio Department of Agriculture, and then we have to have a license. Every 3 years we go get a background check, but we get a yearly license, update it, Luckily for research, it doesn't cost anything, and we just license the specific areas we're going to grow the plants in, and just have the Farm Service agents come out and validate the field and indoor production sites. So it's not, there's some work, but more than other crops, but it's not particularly burdensome to do the research, but it's something we do have to comply with. There's a lot of products that can be made, particularly with the fiber, a number with the grain. So recently there was, in this past August, there was approval of hemp seed cake, which is a byproduct of pressing the seed and extracting the oil. That byproduct was approved as a feed ingredient for laying hens. And so it's now, that's the first application in the U.S. that was approved for animal feed. And so there's a lot of potential for that market, especially getting hemp into feeds because of the protein and oil compositions of it, either individually or together, which makes it a really interesting potential feed product ingredient. So there's work being done in that space. So that's something that's starting to come along, especially with that the chicken approval. But then on the fiber side, there's a local grower that's they're working on that we partner with, that they're working on the fiber side as well, and so they actually are selling their fiber up to a company in Detroit that's making those products into plastics. And so they're taking that hemp fiber and making pellets that can be then used in the plastic processing to make into various products. And so one of the ones that they're really most excited about is the 2025 Toyotas are actually going to have plastic pieces that have about 20% hemp in them. And so that's a really exciting opportunity to really move that the market forward, and the need for acres is getting them into something that requires a lot of plastic. There's a lot of plastics in cars these days, so as a lot of people are probably familiar with at this point, they're not all metal like they used to be. The research is really helpful at this point for this crop because we know it can do a lot of things, but how do you make it competitive with the stuff that's already out there? And that's really what's going to drive the large acreages and shift to large acreages of production of this crop. And it's one of those that a number of people consider it as the next potential soybean crop because with the applications it has the potential to be that large scale of acres if a lot of these applications actually take off because it's so unique with its properties that it provides, either from the seed chemistry side or the fiber. And so the research to advance this is really helping make these possibilities start to happen at this point. I think there's definitely a future for it because of the diverse applications and niches that it can fill. But it's really dependent still on the research and to help make those products competitive with existing products, but also getting processors set up so growers have a reason to grow it and somebody to sell it to. Because without a processor, if you can't sell the crop, it's not really worth anything. So, that's the part that's got to build up. But those processors need those unique applications and ways to be competitive and over other products and sell their products so they actually want to buy the hemp material. And so I think that's coming. It's like any industry that's going to be long-term viable. It's not going to happen quickly. Things that happen quickly, like the CBD and stuff, also often can disappear quite quickly too, right? And we saw that with the large spike in production, then the rapid decline because of overproduction. And so there's not a lot of new processors coming on for that space because the existing ones already fill that market need because it's not a large market. But the grain and fiber have a lot more potential for potentially limitless volumes and needs, kind of like corn and soybeans. And so that provides a unique opportunity that as long as we can make products that are competitive with corn and soybeans from hemp, then this crop will be useful. So why should high school students that might be interested in agriculture want to come to Central State? I think there's a number of opportunities and values, and one of the parts is, as we're a quickly growing program, there's becoming more and more opportunities, and we do hire. We have a relatively small student body, but we hire a lot of students to work on projects, which means there's a lot of students that get opportunities with research that may not get a research opportunity somewhere else at a larger institution, just because even though they have a lot more researchers, they have a lot more graduate programs and things that they fill that workforce need with. At the moment, we don't have those graduate programs, so our undergraduates really get to serve in that capacity doing the research, and they get to gain valuable skills, which are useful for both, either if they go in industry or if they want to continue on to graduate school. That research ability and the ability to think creatively and find solutions to problems that they didn't know existed, because we all know that in any job you get unique problems thrown at you each and every day, and you have to find ways to address those, and the research is a great opportunity to learn how to look at and tackle problems, even if it's not related to the area that you're in. And so I have students that are from business and from social work and psychology have worked with me, and they've really liked the opportunity because they get to look at problem solving in a different way than what they see in some of their courses.